Baum joins me now. So just want to start by asking you about these U.S. car sales numbers. What are you looking for? Are you expecting some softening, a drop in car sales in the U.S.?
Well, they're pretty lackluster. GM has already announced its sales for last month, and they were an increase from last year at this time, but of course last year was pretty modest. We've seen a drop in the last couple months relative to the first part of the year, and of course the slowing economy is part of that. I would expect a little bit of a rebound as we move towards the end of the year. Some good news in the sense that the auto market obviously is connected to the overall economy, but there is pent-up demand and some improvement in the availability of vehicles, certainly, which we'll see in the coming months, and lower pricing, coupled with what we think is a little bit of an increase in incentives, particularly from the Japanese, which will be somewhat matched by their competitors in order to increase sales going towards the end of the year.
Okay, so you're expecting to see a rise in auto sales in the next few months, definitely towards the end of the year. In terms of the July auto sales, it sounds from what you're saying they've been very much driven by sluggish growth in the U.S. and ongoing concerns over consumer spending, very much confirmed by the data that we had out today.
As well as availability, and that's actually started to improve, but I don't think the word got out to consumers. Consumers also felt that pricing was rather high because of the availability problems due in large part, of course, to the earthquake tsunami. And the automakers actually didn't do a lot of effort in terms of letting consumers know that they had vehicles on the lots, and that was also, as I said, contributed to by pricing, which consumers thought was a little probably higher than it actually was. And we're going to see some improvement in the coming months as that availability increases. But July is pretty modest, and really it continues the trend of May and June, where we saw the drops that were, of course, started by the decline in availability, and then the problems with the consumer sentiment.
Yeah, and so you mentioned there the effects of the ongoing supply chain disruptions as a result of Japan's earthquake and tsunami. When will that subside?
Well, it's already subsiding. Nissan is probably among the largest three Japanese automakers in the best position. Honda and Toyota are trailing in that regard. They're both improving. Obviously, a good chunk of their production is here in North America. It was certainly affected, but not as much. Toyota more so because they have a larger percent of their production in Japan. But as we work ourselves into September and beyond, that should be largely behind us. And so the issue is going to be how aggressive the Toyota and Honda in particular are in terms of pricing and trying to get their sales back in order.
Yeah, and I mean Hyundai as well. I mean, they reported second quarter profit gaining some 37%, and their U.S. market share has been rising. And as you say, you know, we're hearing that Toyota is going to update its best-selling U.S. car, offer price incentives. The competition really hotting up there, not just amongst the Japanese car makers, but also with their U.S. counterparts as well.
Right, and Hyundai, of course, has had an advantage. Not only did they not have a significant problem from the earthquake, their supply chain in Japan is rather modest, but they've increased their production here in the U.S., which has meant there's a lot more availability of their vehicles, and their two key products, the Sonata and the Elantra, both produced here, both new vehicles, and both doing extremely well, and they've been benefiting from that.
Maryam Baum of Baum Associates, wonderful to talk to you. Great to get your analysis. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.